Hello, and welcome back to the Boosted English podcast. I'm Liam, and today Emma and I will talk about a very famous music group called the Beatles. Maybe you know their music. Maybe you have heard their songs somewhere, in a movie, in a cafe, or on the radio. Today we will slowly tell their story, who they were, how they started, and why their music became so important for people all around the world. So, take a comfortable breath, slow down, and let's begin.
Part 1. A small band from a small city.
Let's begin very slowly, at the beginning of the story. The Beatles were four young men from a city in England called Liverpool. Liverpool is a port city. That means many ships arrive there, from many different countries. So, Liverpool was always full of new ideas, new music, and new cultures. And this is important, because music travels with people. In the 1950s, and early 1960s, young people in Liverpool were listening to many kinds of music: American rock and roll, rhythm and blues, skiffle music. All these sounds slowly mixed together. And inside this musical world, four young men began playing together.
Yes, and the names of these four young men are very famous today. Their names were John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr. But of course, at the beginning, they were not famous at all. They were simply teenagers who loved music. They played guitars. They wrote songs. They spent long evenings practicing. They were learning, slowly, step by step. And that is an important idea. Before success, there is always practice, a lot of practice, many hours, many mistakes, many experiments. And the Beatles also lived this long learning process.
Part 2. The first meetings.
Let's slow down and imagine a moment in the past. It is the year 1957. A teenage boy named John Lennon has a small band. The band is called the Quarrymen. They play simple rock and roll songs. One day, John meets another boy. His name is Paul McCartney. Paul also loves music. Paul can play guitar. He knows many songs. John listens to Paul play, and he is impressed. So John invites Paul to join the band. This small moment, this small meeting, is actually very important in music history, because this is the moment when the future partnership between John Lennon and Paul McCartney begins.
And this partnership, this creative friendship, becomes the heart of the Beatles. John and Paul write many songs together. Sometimes they sit in a room with guitars. Sometimes they sit at a piano. Sometimes they simply talk about ideas. But slowly, slowly, songs begin to appear. And many of these songs will later become famous all around the world. But at this moment, they are just two young friends exploring music, trying melodies, trying words, trying ideas. It is a very human process, not magic, not sudden success, just curiosity and creativity.
Part 3. George joins the band.
A little later, another young musician joins the group. His name is George Harrison. George is younger than John and Paul, but he is a very talented guitar player. At first, John is not completely sure. George is still very young, but George plays the guitar beautifully. His fingers move quickly. He understands music deeply. And finally, George becomes part of the group. Now the band is slowly taking shape. John, Paul, George. 3 young musicians. Growing together. Learning together. Making music together.
And something very important is happening here. They are not only playing music, they are creating a musical identity. They are discovering their sound. At the beginning, they play many covers. That means they perform songs written by other artists. But little by little, their own songs become stronger. John and Paul write more and more. Their melodies become more interesting. Their lyrics become more personal. Their sound becomes more unique. And slowly, something special begins to form.
Part 4. Long Nights in Hamburg.
Before the Beatles became famous, they spent a lot of time playing music in Germany, in a city called Hamburg. And this period is extremely important because they played for many hours every night. Sometimes 6 hours, sometimes 7 hours, night after night. Imagine this, playing music for hours, learning to keep energy, learning to entertain people, learning to stay creative even when you are tired. This experience made them stronger musicians, like athletes who train every day.
Yes, and many musicians say this about the Beatles. Hamburg was their real school. Not a music school, not a classroom, but a stage full of people. People talking, people dancing, people drinking. And the band must keep playing. They must keep the energy alive. So their music becomes powerful, loud, fast, exciting. And this intense experience shapes their future sound.
Part 5. Ringo Starr arrives.
Finally, the 4th member joins the group. His name is Ringo Starr. Ringo is a drummer. The drummer is the person who plays the drums and keeps the rhythm of the band. Before Ringo, the band had another drummer. But in 1962, Ringo becomes the official drummer of the Beatles. And now the classic group is complete. John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, Ringo Starr. 4 personalities, 4 musicians, 1 band.
And something very interesting about the Beatles is that each member brings something different. John is creative, sometimes rebellious, sometimes poetic. Paul is melodic, musical, very attentive to harmony. George becomes interested in new sounds, new cultures, especially Indian music. And Ringo brings a calm energy and a very musical sense of rhythm. So the band is like a small ecosystem. Each person adds something unique, and together they create something bigger than themselves.
Part 6. The Explosion of Success.
In the early 1960s, something incredible happens. The Beatles released their first big songs. Songs like Love Me Do and Please Please Me. And suddenly, people begin to notice them. Their music is fresh, their energy is young. Their melodies are simple but unforgettable. And fans begin to appear everywhere. Soon, their concerts become very loud. Fans scream, fans cry, fans sing. This moment becomes known as Beatlemania.
Beatlemania is more than just popularity. It is a cultural moment, a moment when young people feel connected to the music. The Beatles represent youth, freedom, new ideas, a new generation, and their style also becomes famous. Their haircuts, their suits, their humor in interviews. They are not just musicians, they become symbols of a changing world.
Part 7. Musical Evolution.
As the years pass, the Beatles begin to change. Their music becomes more experimental, more creative, more adventurous. They start using new instruments, new recording techniques, new musical ideas. Albums like Rubber Soul, Revolver, and Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band show this transformation. These albums are not just collections of songs. They are artistic journeys, sound experiments, musical stories.
Yes, and this is one reason why the Beatles are still respected today. They did not stay the same. They kept evolving. They kept exploring. They kept asking creative questions. What if we try this sound? What if we change the rhythm? What if we mix different musical cultures? And this curiosity helped push popular music forward. Many musicians after them were inspired by this courage.
Part 8. The End of the Band.
Like many groups, the Beatles eventually faced difficulties. Creative differences, personal changes, different visions. And in 1970, the band officially ended. But even after the separation, their music continued to live. And it still lives today.
Yes, and this is something beautiful about music. A band can stop playing together, but their songs continue to travel across countries, across generations, across decades. People still listen to Beatles songs today. Young listeners discover them. Parents share them with children. And the music continues its journey.
Part 9. Why the Beatles Still Matter.
So, why do people still talk about the Beatles? Why does their story continue? One reason is their songwriting. Their melodies are simple but powerful. Another reason is their creativity. They were not afraid to experiment. And another reason is emotional connection. Their songs speak about love, friendship, loneliness, hope, feelings that every human understands.
And maybe the most important reason is that their music feels human. It feels sincere. When we listen to their songs, we feel the personalities behind the music. We feel curiosity, playfulness, sometimes sadness, sometimes joy. And this emotional honesty makes their music timeless.
And slowly, we arrive at the end of today's story. The story of four young musicians from Liverpool who became one of the most influential bands in history. If you already know their music, maybe today you heard their story in a new way. And if you do not know their songs yet, perhaps this is a gentle invitation to explore them.
And remember, when you listen to English, you do not need to understand every word. Just relax. Let the sounds come. Let the rhythm of the language flow around you. Little by little, your brain learns. Naturally, calmly, step by step.
Thank you very much for spending this quiet time with us here on the Boosted English podcast. Be patient with yourself. Learning a language is not a race. It is a slow and beautiful journey. So take care of yourself, stay curious, and we will meet again very soon for another gentle English conversation. Goodbye, and see you next time.